Hey man, what's happening? It's Josh here, and I just want to film this short little video about how overstimulated we are. This is going to be an unedited, non-fancy video, just a rant from the car, and how to escape this trap of, our phones, overstimulation, wrecking your dopamine, all the stuff you hear about if you're in the personal development or personal growth world is like, dopamine detox and unplugging from the matrix and all that sort of stuff. And this experience of the week where, I'm sure you had something really similar like this, is a friend of mine asked me when I was flying back from, this place called the Interior in British Columbia in Canada. And I started to tell him, on Sunday, I'm going to go see my friend Desmond for his birthday, blah, blah, blah. And in the middle of us talking, he literally just picks out, he has his phone in his hand already, and he just looks at his phone and starts looking at crypto charts. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, cool, yeah, man, great chat, good chatting to you. And he just didn't even hear me. He was like so absorbed in his phone. And there was another friend of ours next to us, and I was like, man, so crazy. He literally just asked me a question, jumped on his phone. He's like, yeah, he does that. We just like making jokes. And, I was like, oh yeah, so anyways, and pretended to have the conversation with him without him responding. And I was like, yeah, so anyways, I'm going to go see Desmond for his birthday and then come back on the Sunday. I think we're going to get in at 6 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to go out for dinner? And, pretending to get a response. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But he was just so absorbed with whatever was going on his phone. And it's not particularly uncommon for this guy. But, I've done it to people before. And I'm sure, you've done it, or you definitely know some people where you pick up your phone and you realize, oh, shit, I was talking to somebody. Or someone calls you out for it, And it's so crazy that these devices are essentially like weaponized to grab our attention. And it's so difficult to tear ourselves away. We're hardwired from like millions of years of human evolution to look for things like this. And there's a bunch of scientists, the smartest minds in the world, have designed these phones and weaponized them, like I said, to get your attention and take you away from the present moment. And the damage that it does to us is insane. When we do that, it's like we go from having this attention span. I remember being in high school in 2010 is when I graduated high school, is our teacher was explaining how our attention span was so much less than it was, back when he was at school and like the new generation and blah, blah, blah. And, that was when we had like Motorola Razrs as our cell phones, so we didn't even have smartphones at that stage. And like, it's crazy how as we've gotten older, our attention spans have gotten worse because our devices are just like hacking our brains to get us like stuck in this loop. And, I'm not anti-phones. I love my phone, obviously. I'm an addict, but like, it can really suck away your time and your resources and take you away from enjoying so much of your life. Like, if you think about it, you're essentially, if you're thinking about doing something like this, like removing cell phones or removing as much stimulation from your mind, from your space, and giving your mind a break, and trying to reconnect with the world and give your brain some space. Like, if you think about it, you're alone. You're all alone in your room or in your house. You probably, a lot of people don't live with roommates anymore. They don't live with their bros to keep them accountable, to try and keep them on top of things. Maybe you live with a girlfriend who obviously isn't going to be the best accountability partner and, whip you into shape. But you're alone in your room with the hottest women on the planet, with the best sex on the planet, with the funniest things on the planet, the funniest people. You're with the most violence. You see the extremes of everything. We see the extremes of everything, and we don't have to do any work to get it because it's just there. And it's just literally in this loop of just like, I was watching this, this guy was talking about, when he was watching porn, he used to have like 5 different tabs open. And I was like, oh my God, that's like, that's so like real, because I used to do that. I'd have like the perfect thing that I was looking for. I was looking at, when I was watching porn, looking for the perfect moment. And it's like, I had the hottest chicks, like my version of the hottest women that I've ever seen in my life, and I have 5 of them open on my browser, and I didn't have to do any work to get them. Like, that fucks your brain up. That fucks my brain up, you know? And when you think about trying to disconnect, the point of what I was making about being alone is like, these things are, as I said earlier, weaponized to suck us in. And if you're living alone, if you're living by yourself and you're not living with your bros, or you don't have a good accountability group of friends around you, then like, what chance do you have? Really? Like, you have to have this iron willpower to fight all of these things. And that fight is freaking unfair. And so we really have to put ourselves in a situation where, you know, we can at least try and fight a winning fight, you know, having good friends, like moving in with friends. Like, I've been living with my girlfriend for 2 years, and I'm moving back in with some friends, you know, and her. But I'm like, wow, this is like, I'm not as efficient. I'm smarter, you know, over the last 2 years. I've, you know, learned a lot and grown a lot, and as I've gotten older, and the jobs that I've had, and, you know, the startup that I've worked in is like really helped for me to become a better entrepreneur and a better thinker, and, you know, or have more of those entrepreneurial thoughts of, you know, problem solving and being able to wear multiple different hats. But the effectiveness and the level of fun that I had with living with my bros was really different than what it is, you know, living with my girlfriend. And in recognizing this, that like, a girl in your life, she's not meant to be your accountability partner. She's not meant to be, you know, someone who calls you out on your shit all the time like your bros do. You know, like, if you're living with a couple of guys who go to the gym every single morning, and you're not going to the gym, you're going to feel that like pull to go to the gym, you know. But if your girlfriend doesn't go to the gym, or if she doesn't want to because she's not feeling like it, then, well, it's harder to go because you're not feeling like it. And, you know, it's easier to grip onto you, for these things to grip onto you and take a hold of your future. So I think, you know, like, getting a clear mind is so important to be able to disconnect from, you know, these weapons that we have in our hands, because they're literally weapons. They literally have the best minds in the planet getting paid the most amount of money to tweak them in such a way that they can get inside of your brain and hook you and not let go. Like, it's insane. Andrew Huberman talks about, you know, how dangerous it is. It's not that the pleasures are dangerous. It's the fact that there is no, you know, just like the porn example before, there is no work put in before the dopamine. Usually we would see something, we'd see an antelope, or, you know, if you're living in the desert, you know, or in Africa, you know, you might see a kangaroo if you're in Australia. But if you see an animal, dopamine would get triggered, and then it would inspire you to go off and chase that animal and go and get some food. Whereas now we just break our brains by not having to do any work. There's no work before the reward. It's just like reward. And then you're walking around in your life with, you know, this fucked up perspective, and the things that would usually bring us pleasure, like connection with somebody, a conversation, you know, they're not enough. That's why this guy and, you know, so many other people, you and me, when they're in the middle of a conversation, you can feel that hook that they've got in your brain, just pulling you back towards looking at your phone, you know, because as far as your brain's concerned, you know, your fucked up, broken brain is concerned, this conversation isn't stimulating enough. This isn't giving me what I want. Where's my phone? Where's the ass and titties? And, oh my God, the stocks are plummeting. Oh my God, crypto's, you know, down again. Like, even though it's like fear porn. So you've got real porn and fear porn in the same freaking device. Like, it's just, why would I sit and talk about your flight back home from a friend's birthday last weekend? Like, dude, I don't give a shit. I'm going to go back into this, you know, overstimulated and exciting place. So, yeah, anyways, that's just some thoughts that I've been having around overstimulation, you know, addiction, and being able to get out of it. I think the biggest thing you need to do is create space. Meditation is fantastic, you know, creating that space to filter out all of the shit that's floating around in your brain from your overstimulated overstimulated mind. Obviously, ideally, you want to be meditating an hour a day, you want to be reading books, you want to be having apps on your phone so you can't be tempted. You're basically living like a holy man. But that's not always realistic, and that's not always, like, it's just so hard. It's not always possible because of how dependent we've become on this stimulation, and how used to these dopamine rushes and dopamine hits we've become. So I honestly think one of the best things you can do is just get a group of guy friends together, move in together if possible, throw the girlfriends in as well. Like, you guys need to be back living in community. This is how the world used to work. We didn't used to live so isolated and in our own homes, so far from everybody, and be able to forge a path forward together as a group, because you're so much stronger as a group. And if one person is doing the right thing, it's so much easier for everyone else to follow suit. And if one person falls off, it's so much easier for everyone else to pick them up and carry them forward as well. Whereas when you're on your own, like, nobody can hear you scream, and that's rough. It's way harder than it should be, and it's you as a young guy trying to figure your shit out versus some of the best minds of our generation. I mean, that's a tough battle to win. So I hope that helps. Just want to try and inspire you to, think of outside the box of how to win this fight. And I think that everything is so much better with friends. Just get a good group of guys around you who want the same thing, and it will surprise you how many guys are sitting just on the fence, and they might just need someone to reach out with them and say, hey guys, like, I'm going to get a house. We should all move in together. I want to live a better life. I want to make more money. I want to get fitter and healthier and, stop being such a drop kick, or stop being sad and stop being depressed, or whatever the fuck it is. We should all go to the gym together, make a commitment, and you will be surprised at how many other guys are on the fence about that, and they're just looking for someone to tip them over and take that leap. So thanks, brother. Hope you're well, and I'll talk to you soon.